Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am the one and only infamous Kentucky Yankee without a doubt. Today I'm going to be installing some luggage racks on my KLX300 Supermoto. This is a sneak peek of what they'll look like after you get them installed. Although I did get them installed, there were a few issues along the way. Stay tuned and I'll show you what they were. These are the racks I'm going to be installing. They are DirtRacks to be specific. These are the instructions that came with it. This bag is full of all the hardware. I am confident these instructions will apply to all the KLX300s, including the Enduros. Also, most likely, the older KLX250s. First thing that needs to be removed, our little tool pouch. It's held on by 4 nuts. I will be using a 10mm socket to get them off. With the little tool pouch removed, these are 8mm bolt heads in case you need to hold them, and you probably will while you remove the nuts underneath. There's always going to be one difficult one, and it happens to be this one. The rest of them just unscrewed easy. An 8mm socket will remove this bolt, and we'll do it on both sides. I've sorted all of our hardware out. What we're going to need next is the back rack, 2 of the shortest spacers, 2 of the longest bolts, and 2 washers. Our little spacer will go on the inside of the rack right here. Our bolt with washer will go on the outside like that. Just going to put it on loose, not even hand tight, just to hold it in place for now. Next, we're going to need this bracket right here, the last 2 shortest spacers, and 2 bolts this length, 4 washers, and 2 lock nuts. They're a little bit shorter than the longest bolts. Spacers will go first. Now the bracket, washer and bolt, washer and bolt. Now from the underside I'll install the washers and lock nuts, just finger tight. Remove this bottom bolt with an 8mm socket. I'm now going to remove this bolt again on the rack, which is only finger tight. There are 2 spacers left. The longest one will fit on the exhaust side, where the muffler is. We're going to need one of these, a large diameter bolt, 2 washers, and a nut. Also this longest bolt with a washer on it. Now our side rack, this bracket will fit underneath this one. Taking our big fat bolt, washer and nut underneath it. That'll help hold it in place. Now we can install this bolt, which is going to be a little difficult to line up, I think. And also this spacer and our bolt and washer. By putting all these bolts in loose like this, it just helps to hold it in place while you line these bolts up. That's it for this side. Everything is fitted just hand tight, kind of loose. This side rack will fit the same exact way. Just keep in mind, the spacer is shorter on this side because there's no muffler. It's not as wide. Last piece is going to be this bracket that fits on the back. Looks real easy. You use these nuts and bolts with that. It's the little short fat ones. 4 washers, 2 nuts, 2 bolts. It is time now to tighten up all the bolts, and although I've been trying to fool myself, we do have an issue. 4 of the bolts are too short. This bolt on each side is a 1/4 inch too short, and the 2 bolts up here are each about a 1/4 inch too short. After a thorough investigation, I discovered that I think the bolts they gave me are just for if you buy the back rack, not including the sides. Reason I say that is because this back rack, the side racks overlap it, and it's about a 1/4 inch width metal. On the back, same thing. There's a bracket right here that goes to our side racks. It's about a 1/4 inch thick, and that's why I think these two bolts needed to be replaced with longer ones. I would like to assume this was done on accident, but even so, quality control should be a little better. It's frustrating. Anytime you buy anything anymore, it seems like something is just not quite right. You got to spend money on hardware, or hunt something down, or contact the company and get the right stuff. Frustrating. Now with that little issue addressed, I'm going to tighten everything up, starting with the bolts that are actually onto the motorcycle. Then I'll go around to these other ones that are not attached to the motorcycle, but to the bracketry. All the bolts are going to be a 10mm head. I did change these out with screws, that's what I had. But they'll be a 10mm head or a 14. I had hoped to avoid this by tightening up the brackets in the front first, and then coming back here I thought it would pull it away from the muffler a little bit, but the bracket is touching the muffler and pretty good too, so I'm going to have to do some bending or twisting or something to get this away from the muffler. Here we go. Hopefully the powder coat don't chip. I 100% do not want to, but I think I'm going to have to spread this out a little bit. And yes, I'm worried about the powder coat cracking, chipping. I'm going to just do a little bit. Hopefully it'll be enough to make this work. After tweaking, bending, pulling, stretching, all that, I was able to get nearly a 1/4 of an inch. But let me tell you something, it took a lot of effort to get that. And with the weight of the bags on there, I don't know if it's still going to touch. DirtRack luggage, all installed and tightened up. A view of the other side. This is the hardware we have left, although there is nothing in the instructions about this hardware. I know it's to attach the boxes onto the racks. I'm assuming that these brackets will go on your box, bolt onto them, and it'll slip over the rack like that to hold it. And there are 6 of these, so I guess 3 on each side. So I would think one here, and then maybe one right here. I assume, not positive on that. These knobs, more self-explanatory. When your box is open, you'll just stick these through the hole and then screw your box on there to tighten them up, to hold them onto the racks. If you want my opinion, these are nice racks. They seem to be real sturdy on my bike, and they're going to work out good. But for the cost of them, they should have fit a little bit better, and they should have given me the correct hardware. Wouldn't it be a perfect world if all companies took a little pride in their product and made them so that they fit right? Every time you get something aftermarket to fit on your bike, it's never just exactly right. Thanks for watching. I'm going to figure out what kind of boxes I want on this bike, and maybe I'll make a video on that too. We'll see you next time.